In the heads or tails video, we demonstrated how we can have a variable called answer, but it contains a string of text of the word heads, and we can have a separate variable called computer pick, which contain the word tails. So variables can only contain one value at a time. We had a situation where the computer pick variable started as a 0 or 1, and then that value changed into a word. With this program we're going to make now, the password generator, we need to evolve this. We need a data structure that can hold more than one value at a time. So we're going to use a concept called arrays. To demonstrate how arrays work, I've used this medication container. And you can see there is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places. So similar to the variables, the actual data structure itself has a name. In this case, it's ADJ, which stands for adjective. And inside each one of these places is a word. Let's look at a few. So in the 0 index, we've got the word happy. Inside the 3 index, we've got the word ghastly. And inside the 6 index, we've got the word shiny. So there is an adjective word in every place. So how our program is going to work is that we're going to pick a random number between 0 and 6, and whatever that random number is, let's say we pick a 2, it will then call out the word that is inside that place. So just to demonstrate, I'm going to use a dice roll. Now, what the key point here is in text-based programs, they use a 0-based index. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I roll the dice, there's no 0, so you'll just have to forgive that part, but it will make the point. And then when we make our program, we will have a 0 through to 6 options. So let's try. So in this case, our program has called a 6. And has picked the word shiny. So that's one array. Our program to make the random password is going to actually have 3 arrays: adjective, noun, and number. Our program will pick a random number for adjective, a random number for noun, and then a random number for number. Then the final step is that a copy of all those numbers gets put into some form of output. So a copy of this word will get put in here. A copy of this word will get put in here. And a copy of these numbers will go in here. And as far as our user will see, the password generated will be darkbones82. Now that we've looked at that conceptually, let's look at building the programs. Today we're going to make a random password generator. And the key learning outcome is to learn how to use arrays. We're going to have 3 separate arrays, and we're going to pick a random word or number from these arrays to create this password generator. We're going to build this in Scratch and in Python and in JavaScript. So first of all, I'm just going to show you the completed applications. Then I'll talk a little bit about how these work. The last step will be to actually build them all from the beginning. So let's just have a look how this works. So this is useful for when you've signed up to a new website and you need to come up with a password. And so this application will create a password that you can use. If we look in Python over here, every time we run it, we get random passwords. And in JavaScript, if we look over here, Okay, so how does this work? In Scratch, we have three arrays. So an array holds multiple values. We've got an adjective array that has 7 values in it. We've got a noun array, and we have number array. And basically how it works is it picks one from each column to the output. So it might say ghastly apricot 13 or blue camel 26. So if we have a quick look at the code, and I will go into this in more depth later on, but you will see it says join a random item from the first array with the item from the second array and an item of the third array. And when you click on the green flag, that's your output. So it is a very straightforward program to make. If we have a look in Python, we've set up 3 arrays here. Again, this array is called adjective, contains 7 values, noun and number. The key difference is that in Python and JavaScript, to get these values, they're 0 based. In Scratch, it starts at 1 through to 7. In Python, we'd be looking at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we picked a random number of 3, it would go 0, 1, 2, 3. And again, I will get more into this detail later on. So we have our arrays, and this is just to give us some space separation, password generator, and we have a built-in method that we use from this once we call it in, and it says pick a random choice from here. So that's nice and easy. It just went happy light 97, but how it worked is it went 0 to 7 and joins them together. In JavaScript, we've got the same arrays here. Slight difference, we need the variable keyword and we need to conclude each one with a semicolon. In JavaScript, we have to create a random generator that picks a number between 0 and 7. And what the output will do is it says pick a number here between 0 and 7 and grab it from this array. Again, pick another random number between 0 and 7 and grab it out of this array. Pick another random number between 0 and 7 and grab it out of this array, and then concatenate them all to the output to give the user the password. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build these programs from the start. I will leave the arrays in there to save time, so you can pause the video and type in the arrays yourself. Okay, so to make an array in Scratch, we make a list. We call this whatever we want. So if we were going to make the number one, and all you do is you click on the plus sign, put in and then click on plus again until you've reached the limit that you're after. Okay, so I've already made this one called ADJ, which stands for adjective. Now, if we have a look at our output, if we, instead of saying hello, if we want to output this variable called adjective, we will get all of the items. And so instead of saying adjective, we can say item 1 of adjective, which we know is going to be happy. We could do the last one, which is going to be shiny, but we could also say item 3, which is going to be dizzy, item 6, which is going to be blue. Now, Scratch has a built-in random generator, so that makes it very easy. You can see the numbers lighting up as it goes. So we're going to concatenate all of these together. So I'm going to get, I've also created noun and number arrays. So I can get item random of noun and item random of number, and I'll need the join. Now, because I've got 2 spots but 3 values, I need to put that in there to give me the 3 spaces. So joining 1, 2, and now we get the desired result. So then, now that we've done our testing, we can uncheck these, we can move that to where we want to, and now we can save this password generator. To get the background, new backdrop, I've picked blue sky, and I double clicked on backdrops and just simply went with text, changed it to white and typed it in. Let's have a look at Python. So again, we've created 3 arrays. Now if I want to print out the value of the first array, I get all of the items, and you can see this brackets here indicating that it's simply printed out all of the items. Now if I put in number 0, I get the first item, I could put in the third item, so I went too far out of range. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So with a 0-based index, we could put in anywhere between 0 and 6. So just to show you how a simple version could work, now this is hard coded. So what we want to do next is generate a random number. Now before we can do that, we need to import random. Now that we've got random, we can use the random method. What we do is create a new variable called rand, and it's assigned a value of this random that we've imported, and it's got a method called randint, and we can put in a range between 0 to 6. And just to test, I want to print out the value of this variable. So I want to print this out and just see if it is working as I hope. So it's printing random numbers. Great. So now all I have to do is put in, instead of hard-coded number, in here I can say pick a random number now between 0 and 6. And there's our output. Now to make it a bit more user-friendly, I'm just going to print a space. I'm going to do that 2 times. And this just separates it from the text above. And I just want to print the words as a string of text. So I have already put in the words password generator as a heading 2 element in the body section. That's optional. First step is to create the arrays. Now the key point is we need the var keyword, and we need to end each one with a semicolon. So again, so we could alert, but what I don't like about alert is that it essentially stops your program. But we could alert the value of that variable, the value of that array. we could see we get all of those. And again, we could say get, use the square brackets, get the third item. But instead of alert, I want to put it over here. So if I go document.write, okay, so like we did with Python, we can try concatenating hard-coded noun, and I'm going to hard code the fourth item, and for number. So we've got our output and it's hard-coded, so to make it a bit more flexible, we need to create a random number generator. Now this is a little bit more complex in JavaScript. Bear with me, you will be using this a lot. So the first step is we use the math.random, and this creates a number between 0 and 1. To see the output, create a variable called rand and assign it that value. And now we want to see what that looks like. So we can see here that it's a number between 0 and 1. If you just look to the left of the decimal place, sorry, if we multiply this by 7, we're just checking that we're getting random numbers on the left hand side between 0 and 6. So there's one that was 6 point, like that. So we just now need to round it down. So to round it down, we again call on math, but we use floor, and we want to put all of this inside of here. When I'm teaching this, give yourself plenty of space so that you can understand. You don't need to bunch everything up just yet. So that's giving us our random number. We've got zeros, we've got sixes. So now what we can do, like we did in Python, is we don't need to test it anymore, but we can get this variable and we can put this inside the array number picker. So it's now saying pick a random number in this array between 0 and 6, and we get our password generated.